Concerns over the well-being of sailors aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln. What the Navy has to say tonight.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. spoke in San Diego today. I have more on his Treatment First plan to end homelessness and addiction.
You complained and the city listened. These restroom clotheslines are finally coming down, but when will the bathrooms open and for how long? And where do they find the money? We'll tell you coming up.
The former TikTok influencer convicted of a double homicide argues to a court of appeals that he didn't get a fair trial and he wants a lighter sentence.
And their excitement is electric. A dream come true for the Sweetwater Valley Little League team, now just one win away from the World Series.
The San Diego-based USS Abraham Lincoln's 5,000 sailors and Marines are still deployed tonight, more than 8 months into a mission supporting U.S. operations against Iran. It was supposed to end back in May. Now, there's no return date. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Stephanie Simmons in tonight for Marcella. On top of that, this week, the Navy Times reported allegations of sailors facing exhaustion and even suicidal thoughts. News 8's Steffi Roche looked into those concerns and talked with an expert. She joins us live now with more. Steffi.
Well, that article raised allegations that multiple sailors have attempted to jump overboard. Now, according to a report reviewed by MS Now, just last week, 200 family members attended a meeting right here in San Diego with the acting secretary of the Navy, and families were raising concerns over sailors' mental health, exhaustion, and safety. During the meeting, Vice Admiral Joseph Cahill, commander of Naval Surface Forces, acknowledged the strain on sailors and their families. The Navy Times' article also featured claims from family members who say contacting their children stationed on the ship has been a challenge. I took the concerns raised in that report to Armin Kurdian, a retired U.S. Navy captain who once called the USS Abraham Lincoln home for 6 months.
It's not uncommon that a strike group experiences somebody wanting to jump overboard or somebody wanting to commit suicide during a deployment. You know, it doesn't happen every day, obviously, but it does happen. So the fact that it's happening during this deployment is not surprising, but I hate to say this, it's something that you might expect. You always try to lead turn these kinds of things.
Meanwhile, in a statement shared with News 8, a spokesperson for the Navy tells us in part, quote, based on information available to command, we have not identified an increase in reported suicidal ideation or suicide attempts aboard the ship. It goes on to say Lincoln is operating in a highly contested environment where traditional supply hubs in the Middle East were disrupted by combat actions. In response, leadership prioritized mission critical supplies first, food, then hygiene items, then mail. Current reports from the ship confirm continuous access to clean water, functional AC, and healthy meal options. Now, the Navy also explained that the ship has a comprehensive support network with counselors, medical professionals, and more on board the ship. But for now, reporting live from the San Diego Bay, I'm Steffi Roche, News 8.
Yeah, Steffi, just another reminder of the toll those deployments can take. Health Secretary RFK Jr. was in San Diego today as the Trump administration pushes for a new approach to homelessness and addiction by putting treatment first. The secretary and other federal officials unveiled a new toolkit.
It is designed to help communities get people off the streets and into recovery. News 8's Alex Cheney joins us live with details. Alex.
Yeah, Carlo, federal health officials say it's not just about finding homes for people. It's about giving them the treatment and support they need to stay there.
Our guests for today, Donnie D., Secretaries Kennedy and Turner.
The message from the federal government is clear. Treatment first.
Well, thank you all for being here.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says battling homelessness and addiction was one of his top priorities upon taking office because of his personal history with drug abuse.
This is a problem because of my own history with addiction and then 43 years in recovery. This was an issue that was a priority for me.
The new Treatment First toolkit gives communities a step-by-step approach to dealing with two problems that often overlap: homelessness and addiction. The administration says the toolkit emphasizes daily schedules, faith community programs, and a departure from harm reduction tools like syringe exchanges or certain medical assisted treatments.
Treatment comes first, results must follow. That's the foundation of value-based care. We reward lasting results instead of repeated cycles of detox, relapse, and reentry into care.
The approach doesn't leave housing out. Instead, federal officials say housing, treatment, and other support services need to work together.
Common sense.
HUD Secretary Scott Turner says housing is critical, but it's not the only piece of the puzzle.
Self-sufficiency is the key. Self-sustainability, transformation, revitalization of the man, the woman, and the child. That is what we are after.
The San Diego Rescue Mission, which hosted today's event, has been working with people experiencing homelessness for decades. The organization provides shelter, meals, clothing, education, and job training.
Housing alone will not solve these problems. For what we say is matters of the heart.
Federal officials say that's the idea behind this new toolkit. Not just getting people into housing, but helping them get into recovery and stay there.
The administration says the toolkit is part of their effort to expand recovery services. Reporting live, I'm Alex Cheney. Back over to you.
Alex, thank you. A downtown shelter for women and children experiencing homelessness is expanding. The Rachel's Promise shelter is adding 160 more beds. The shelter provides meals, showers, clothing, a safe place to sleep, and housing assistance. The city of San Diego funds the shelter and says next week unhoused women will start moving into the new space. Then women with children will start moving in within the next month.
All 13 restrooms along Mission Bay closed down by the city of San Diego as a result of budget cuts are being reopened. The move comes after complaints from constituents and growing unsanitary conditions.
News 8's Steve Price breaks down when the restrooms will reopen and how long they'll stay open.
Mayor Todd Gloria announced today that these restroom close signs will be coming down on Friday. But he also said there's only enough money to keep the bathrooms open until the end of the year. And another council member says that is unacceptable.
All city departments and closing these public restrooms.
Just as Mayor Todd Gloria is explaining why beach bathrooms had to be closed, a woman who needed to use one discovers she's out of luck.
Feel the handle? Turn around in disgust.
Councilmember Raul Campillo saw it and says the city has received an overwhelming number of complaints since the bathrooms shut down more than a month ago.
I'm not kidding when I saw a Get It Done app request that said that a person was a 60-year-old diabetic with urinary tract problems and cannot hold it and walk to the next restroom.
Since the bathrooms have been closed, viewers have sent us what they say look and smell like urine stains. People were leaving themselves outside the locked entrance.
I want to just express that I understand the frustration that this has caused many. I share in that frustration. We all want to see public amenities open and operating for the public's benefit.
Today, Mayor Todd Gloria says the city now has the money, around $200,000, to reopen the bathroom starting Friday through the end of the year. Some of the cash opened up because extra funds from an unrelated state grant will allow them to shift money around. The rest came from District 1 and 2 discretionary funds.
The public, my constituents, and tourists were very vocal. This was one budget cut that was too deep, too impactful, and undermined the enjoyment of this wonderful resource we call Mission Bay.
The bathrooms were closed because the city faced a $118 million budget deficit, and the mayor made it clear they could close again once this money runs out. Councilmember Campillo has been a vocal critic of the closure for weeks, offering solutions to reopen them. He's glad the mayor and other council members finally got the message.
I would say that it's late, but it's never too late to do the right thing, and that's what's happening today.
Campillo says not only do these bathrooms need to stay open, but they also need to be maintained, kept clean with toilet paper so that families feel safe using them. At Tecolote North Shore's playground, Steve Price, News 8.
Today, the former TikTok personality convicted of killing his wife and her friend in an East Village high-rise told an appeals court he did not get a fair trial and now wants his conviction overturned.
News 8's Kelly Hessedal was in the courtroom and shares more on the arguments his attorney made during today's hearing.
Well, one of the big arguments she made was there was just so much outside stuff allowed into this trial. Videos of Aaliyah Bouliban making racial slurs at people, including his wife. The prosecution said he looked at teen porn. He denied that. But she said there was just so much stuff that the jury wasn't able to objectively look at the evidence that Aaliyah Bouliban, the person, was tried, and not the case itself.
There was no objection at all to the racist racial slurs, the homophobic evidence that came in, the teen porn. My client basically had to defend himself. He had to say, look, are you calling me a child molester? You know, where is the evidence of that? And the defense counsel just sat there and did nothing.
Aaliyah Bouliban's appellate attorney, Laura Schaefer, arguing to the three justices her client didn't get a fair trial when he was convicted of the 2021 murder of his wife Anna and her friend Ray Barron. She said not only was prejudicial evidence against Aaliyah Bouliban allowed in at trial, she also argued the killings were not premeditated.
What cold calculated murderer would film himself committing a murder, a calculated murder? What murder would, after he does it, say, what have I done? And then text everybody and...
I suppose maybe a TikTok star.
But the Office of the Attorney General pushed back on all of this, making it clear the jury had plenty of time to get to know Bouliban.
The jury saw him testify for 3 days straight. They had a real impression of who he was.
We don't know what the jury believed or didn't believe. We just know there's substantial evidence to support the verdict.
The hearing went on for an hour. At one point, one of the justices asked this.
Was he likable?
He, not, well, respondents said the jury got to know, that I complained the jury didn't get to know who he was. The jury got to know who he was. The problem was, exactly, all too well, but all too well in the sense of stuff that was completely and totally irrelevant.
And so at the end of this, she basically said she wants a new trial or at least a reduced sentence for her client. But keep in mind, the appeals court is looking for any legal errors that the trial court possibly made, and the threshold is extremely high. Now, we are expecting a written ruling to come down within the next 90 days. Kelly Heston on News 8.
News 8 was in the courtroom for the entire trial, and we put all of our coverage together in our Emmy Award-winning special, Unfiltered, the TikTok Murder Files. Download the CBS 8 app and stream for free. Javier Becerra is outlining his plans for California should he win the governor's race in November.
We'll share his top priorities still ahead. Plus, homeowners on California's FAIR plan will soon be paying more. We're working for you, breaking down what to expect.
And a push from state leaders to highlight a free perk available to tens of thousands of California fourth graders.
We've been dealing with monsoonal moisture, even saw the presence of it with clouds over the mountains earlier today, and even still seeing them right now. But we're going to have a whole lot less of it over the next few days, but we're still holding on to some cloud cover. I'll explain after the break.